Welcome to the Cincy Postcast presented by LASIK.com, where better vision equals better calls. I'm Kevin Wallace, and before we get started with today's episode, I get to tell you about our friends over at Streetside Brewery. That's right, your friends, my friends, our friends over at Streetside are sponsoring the Postcast because they have the best damn beer in the city. That's how it works, okay? We partner with the best. That's how it works. And as a part of being our dear, dear friends over at Streetside, they are hosting us May 17th, 5:30 p.m. Hell is Real live show. Come on out. We'll talk about it in this episode, but it's going to be a good time. Come check it out. But also check out their website. They always have different events, all sorts of cool stuff going on. Please, please, please check out their offerings. They've got really good stuff. They serve really good beers. There's a food truck there, always serving great burgers. Pimento cheese fries, really good there. So a huge thank you to our friends over at Streetside for sponsoring this episode. And thank you, listener, for showing up on the live show, on May 17th, 5:30 p.m. Streetside before the game against Columbus. Hell is real. And on today's episode, well, there's not a whole lot going on with FC Cincinnati, okay? But that's good. It's good. It's not like so quiet, it's eerie. It's so quiet that it's good. Things are off in the right direction. Guys are back in training. So we talk about Kévin Denkey's lovely gesture to the city of Cincinnati. We talk about the Austin match coming up. Brandon Vazquez's homecoming. It's very funny. You will listen to us get excited that Austin is losing their Open Cup match to El Paso. They win the game after we were done recording. So Austin actually does come back and win 3-2 in this one. And we wrap it up with some Patreon questions, including a Hell is Real question that goes so very far off the rails. I think you're going to enjoy it, which is to say, this is a pretty classic postcast. Joining me to talk about all of that and more, I am joined by two gentlemen who will also be joining me at Streetside for a live show in just, 10 days? Joined by the Chief, joined by Grayson. Chief, are we ready for Hell is Real in 10 days?
I mean, at least we're not going this time.
I would rather die, I think.
Yeah. No, I'm happy for Hell is Real. Cool. Neat. I'm happy that win, lose, or draw, I will be less than 5 minutes away from my home at the conclusion of the match when we're at Streetside. And that's the real win in this scenario right here.
Yes, absolutely. Grayson, you skip. Wait, no, you did not skip out on the last one. Chief skipped out on the last one.
I skipped out on the Gold Star.
Yeah, he skipped out on the Gold Star. Okay. I showed up midway through because I got a flight canceled.
That's
Come
right.
on. Keep up with it, Kevin.
But Chief skipped the last one at Streetside. And what I'm realizing in this moment is we have done too many live shows.
I mean, some would say we really haven't done any live shows because one of us keeps missing the live shows.
maybe do like one that's good.
No guarantees.
And then,
that's not going to happen. Like, look, the whole theme of this podcasting enterprise we have is that it's definitely quantity over quality. Let's be real here.
Yes. We go from once a week to twice a week to 2 shows. I mean,
it's just more, it's mediocre content, but a higher volume of it. And to be fair, there's really nothing more American than that as a concept. Hello, McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's.
Yes, this is
Target.
This is our flood the zone tactic, where if we just put out so much content, people won't be able to notice that some of it, all of it is bad.
Yeah. The Temu of podcasting, if you will.
But Chief, I was recently donated some goodies to give away at the live show. I don't know if you were serious about the image that you shared before.
Oh, I'm dead serious. Yeah, we'll have some goodies to give away. One will be a one of one original piece of Postcast merch.
You may or may not want to wear in public.
Nobody's gonna get it, which is the best. Honestly, it is the best kind of joke.
Yes.
And also, I did manage to find my copy of Play On, the Walker Zimmerman story. So
yes,
we'll have that available as well. It's just going to be a good time. And what's fun about it is that if you're going to be miserable, and no matter what the outcome of Hell is Real is, I am miserable for the entire experience, right from kickoff to final whistle.
Yes,
I'd rather be around people. Misery loves company.
Yeah. I think it'll be a good time. I think people should definitely come out. Street side, good people. It's a good space to be. They'll have the game on, which would be nice. And
or they might turn it off if we ask nicely too.
That's true. Actually, if it gets a little out of hand, we may ask them to turn it off.
Right.
But no, it should be fun. I don't know 100% what the programming will look like, but I promise you'll have a good time if you show up. So please show up. We're kicking off around 5:30 before Hell is Real. The game starting at 7, I believe. I think it's a weird flex for cable. I could be wrong. I probably am. I usually am.
You're not. It's 7:00.
Hey, so there you go.
It's on FS1. Just to get that simulcast going right there.
You know what that might mean?
Uh-oh.
Kickoff is 7:37.
That's a good point, actually. It's either that or kickoff is actually like 6:53.
No, I've been burned by these cable games before. I remember there was like a game against, God, it was like years ago. It was back when we still sucked. Or the last time we sucked. Where the game was advertised at 8. It was a Wednesday game. Advertised at 8, and it was being aired on Fox or something, and kickoff wasn't until after 8:30.
Oh,
so like
the national team is notorious for this too. So
yeah, national team would be like coverage starts at 5 p.m. kickoff at 7:30. Oh, you got to be careful which graphic you follow or believe.
You know what will tell us the kickoff is what time Tommy G says coverage starts in his tweet.
Oh,
because he always says coverage starts a half hour before. So if he's starting coverage at 6:30, it's really a 7:00.
Okay.
You know what's nice about the Fox Sports game is that you don't get the awkward like 8 minutes of just the repeating graphic match is about to start on Apple TV long after the posted kickoff time.
That doesn't get you hyped for a match?
It just makes me wonder, why aren't they selling this as ad space? Like, quite literally, sell it to, Buddy's Carpet Barn or something like that. Anything is better than just repeating a graphic over and over again. Like, why isn't Apple advertising that Apple Vision Pro that doesn't sell using this free airspace?
That's the piece I keep missing is like, okay, sure, maybe you didn't sell all of your ad inventory. Surely I would be doing a couple of things. One, Apple could be selling their other products, right? Obviously, Apple Music or Apple TV or something like that. But then also, it seems very weird to me that and again, I don't want to be like an American asking for ads in my soccer. I am just looking at this from the league's perspective. Why don't we see ads for ticket sales for the teams that we are watching?
Or
why is
another game that's on tomorrow?
Right.
Like, or here, tune into the studio show, or, read more on MLS.com. Like, there's nothing. Like, you watch an NFL game, they're constantly doing all this, this happy nonsense about football is family and NFLshop.com and ads for, wake up with football and good
Yep.
morning football and lunch drive time and,
Brunch with
gridiron happy hour and good night football and whatever the hell else is on that damn channel. Nothing from MLS. Like, not even like a cursory, like, hey, the website is actually MLSsoccer.com. MLS.com will sell you a home instead.
Yeah, it's very weird. It's very weird. I also think it's funny that, like, when you watch college football or college basketball, it feels like it's obligated. I don't know if it's like in the contract, but like each school gets an ad around halftime. I think it's funny that, like, the teams don't get an ad. So maybe it's not necessarily for ticket sales, but like, take a moment to highlight like a community project you're doing or some sort of charitable thing you're doing. Because there's lots of space where we could be doing this. We're getting tons of repeat ads. Like,
maybe just 3 minutes of Jeff Birding at a lectern or a podium.
Oh my God. I'd pay $100 a year for that.
Just freestyling it a little bit, just letting us know what's up. Talking about a city on the rise. I don't know. There's any number of ways you can go with it that's better than the repeating graphic and that awful like horn music that is the MLS theme music.
Yeah, it's very weird.
Dun, 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 dun.
Did you know Hans Zimmer worked on the MLS anthem? It's very important.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to
Anything for a buck.
question. I'm not going to question the ownership that includes, the 35th most valuable team in world soccer, which is FC Cincinnati. I think massive club. I think a couple of teams were in like top 10 valuation, like LAFC, Miami, Galaxy,
maybe Galaxy. Man,
I don't know anyone that's paying that for any of these teams, but it's nice to be theoretically wealthy.
I mean, Miami makes sense with the brand right now. I don't know where it stands like 2 years from now, 3 years from now. LAFC is a funny one where it's like, I don't know that they actually are that relevant internationally.
They're not top 10. They're top 25.
But still,
LAFC comes in at 20. LA Galaxy comes in at 21. Inter Miami comes in at 22. They are directly behind Fulham at 19, Aston Villa at 18, West Ham at 17. Milan is 16, Inter is 15. And then they're ahead of Eintracht at 23, Brighton at 24, and Napoli at 25.
This is just a reminder, you are listening to the postcast. You did not click on to the wrong episode by mistake. Just putting that out there for anyone that's listening to this.
Was that on the rundown for the World's Game?
It was not, actually. It was not. But like, I just worried that someone's going to. I just worried that someone was going to click on it and be like, wait, which one am I listening to right now?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's all one song.
But FC Cincinnati is 35. 35.
That's pretty good.
Kevin, you asked a second ago, like, what happens when 2 years for Inter Miami? We already know the answer to that. What was, even recently, the most often sold American soccer jersey abroad? Which team was it, Kevin? You know this.
It was the New York Cosmos jersey and probably Pele's jersey. So yes.
Pele's jersey. And so no matter what happens, like if MLS were to go belly up tomorrow, the team everyone would remember now is Inter Miami.
Yeah.
That would be the brand that would like outlive the rest of the league.
Yeah, the pink kit. And especially, look, I think a sponsor can ruin a jersey. I don't think a sponsor necessarily makes a jersey, but the Royal Caribbean, like clean anchor logo is a good looking jersey. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
Saw a guy running the pig on Sunday in an Inter Miami jersey.
Did you go tackle him?
No, I did see several FC jerseys, so I felt good about that.
Good.
Didn't see any other soccer jerseys. I may have seen a couple of European teams. I don't remember, but I wonder what was up with that guy in the Inter Miami jersey.
Good on him for getting one from DH Gate before the tariffs went in.
Yeah.
Very smart.
Yeah, well done.
35th most valuable club in the world. I think.
I hope it wasn't authentic, because I'm not going to spend for an authentic and then bleed through it.
I was just thinking that. On one hand, it feels like a terrible jersey to run a marathon in.
No, it feels like the best jersey to run a marathon in. Like how Pavel Bucha runs a marathon every time he plays a game, and it's fine for him.
Thing. I can't reconcile these two things.
They wear the compression tracking top.
That's true. The sports bra on all of them, yeah.
It's stylish. I mean, it's a clear fashion choice.
I'm sure the guy took proper precautions.
Proper nipple precautions.
I unfortunately had to learn that the hard way years ago. I lost a Real Madrid jersey.
Oh no!
Because I started running longer distances for the first time. Get across the Roebling Bridge, and I look down, and I'm like, "Fuck, I'm dying."
I'm either dying or I'm Jesus.
Is this a miracle? Does this count as a miracle?
Oh, by the way, if you haven't been paying attention, no Pope. There was black smoke tonight. So this has been your papal update on the postcast. Kevin, what's going on with FC Cincinnati?
What isn't going on with FC Cincinnati? That's the bigger question, Chief. No.
What isn't? A lot of things aren't going on with FC Cincinnati.
Passing. Mainly passing. Chance creation. Product of passing. No.
Wobodo practicing.
Okay, Wobodo practicing. No, maybe the biggest news this week, and I loved this, Kévin Denkey is donating 150 bicycles to local students. I'm trying to pull up the school district here real quick.
I believe it's a CPS. I think it's a CPS school.
Was it CPS?
It's like the Hayes
Porter.
That's
it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Hayes Porter, and it's for kids with good or near perfect attendance. At the end of the year, 150 bicycles in celebration of his bicycle kick. Man.
Just capital G gets it. Like, this is a gets it moment.
Yeah.
And if it was him, that's awesome. If it was somebody in his orbit that was like, hey, this is a good marketing opportunity. Number one, great for them. Number two, props on him for going with it. This is the kind of thing MLS needs more of, frankly.
Yep.
They need more star players doing star player things. They need more star players, passing out bikes to, kids, going Christmas toy shopping in the holidays, delivering turkeys. This is stuff you see all the time from baseball players and football players specifically. For MLS, this is a no-brainer for a lot of the players that they need to be marketing as stars in their local communities. And, not for nothing, if I was the league, I'd be signal boosting this a little bit nationally, because this is a really neat little story, especially when you combine it with how cool the bicycle kick was. Like, any excuse to show the bicycle kick again should be a no-brainer win for MLS.
That's what I'm saying. It is such a cool moment. And Chief, you brought this up a long time ago, that the biggest thing that we want is to just believe that these guys care as much as we do. And they don't have to. And in a lot of ways, they probably shouldn't, right? This is their careers. Now, I can understand why Nick Hagelin might have a particular affinity towards FC Cincinnati, but at the end of the day, I truly don't believe that Matt Miazga is going to be buried in an FC Cincinnati jersey. Okay, I'm not thinking that's happening.
He will be if the three of us can get shovels. We can make that happen.
Was that a threat?
Well, we'll see if his play improves.
It's only grave robbing if you get caught. All right.
Parody.
You'll leave him in there long enough, and it's archaeology. Come on.
That's a good point.
And somebody once said we have horses in back, and you know what happens when a horse goes lame?
No.
Get the sheet.
But The 35th most valuable club in the world would not let him go to waste. Introducing a new line of glue, FC Cincinnati branded glue. This will be good. But no, Denkey makes me believe that he cares. And he's doing a good job of making me believe that like he wants to live here forever and raise a family here. And I don't care if it's true or not. I'm bought in. I'm way in on this.
My only problem is, and this is a long-standing hot take that I've had, and long-standing problem I've had.
Uh-oh.
I hate perfect attendance people at school, because if you were a perfect attendance person at school, it meant you probably showed up sick a number of times and got other people infected with whatever it was that you were carrying. And then I was the one that had to suffer, being the person that got sick, and then my parent that held you back and said, no, you can't go to school because you're running a fever of 130. And then I never got the perfect attendance gift. It's not fair.
Now, I don't know how it works in other schools. Maybe this is more possible, I'm assuming, in high school. First grade, this has not really come up in our house, but feels like in today's day and age, you may be able to be given some sort of online alternative school for a sick day and somehow keep your attendance in that way.
I'm fine with that. Just, if you're hacking up a lung, like I'm not going to name names. I know people who have told me that the plan is always, shove a lot of Tylenol down the kid to break the fever. And then by the time they get called and say they have to pick the kid up, I've at least gone through at least half my morning so that I can get most of my work done. It's diabolical. We shouldn't be standing for that or encouraging that.
Why are we mad at the kids, though?
Because I didn't get
their
it.
party to the crime.
Because I didn't get it. That's the answer.
It sounds
why?
like they're a very passive decision maker in this whole endeavor.
Well, it's time for them to learn some personal responsibility.
To defend Chief's point that he's not defending for himself, I think perfect attendance comes with a degree of gloating, and I feel like you can't gloat having known that you have put your classmates at risk. There you go. Here's the defense.
I think any certificate kids gloat over.
Yes.
Like, it's not that they value perfect attendance or they value any particular thing.
Yeah. You got something somebody else didn't have.
Get something and now you don't have it. I got it. It's pretty cool that I got it. Less cool that you didn't get it.
Right. Like, they got free donuts and a certificate. That sucked. I didn't get it. And why? It's because, they got shoved into school as little germ factories all the time.
So Kévin Denkey comes out pro-pandemic. So this is
No. He didn't. What I appreciate about Kévin, because Kévin is a conscientious individual. Kévin is our hero here in Cincinnati. Perfect and near perfect attendance. That's right. If you want a bicycle from Kévin Denkey, it's okay to stay home from school every so often when you're sick.
And if you have less than near perfect attendance, Kévin Denkey takes your bike.
That's how we got the 150 bikes, actually.
He's not creating new bikes. He's more redistributing bikes from people. It's like, you're not really using this because you're not showing up anyway.
Yeah.
I'm going to give this to the kid who might use it to come to school.
Yeah.
You're too sickly to ride a bike.
Yeah. Or maybe you're riding your bike too much. You should be in school and not riding your bike.
You've been riding it out in the rain and you're not a responsible bike rider.
So other than Denkey's bike riding escapades, am I missing anything else? Is everybody in training these days? I know Bucha's back from his concussion protocol
mishap.
There were some, I don't know if there was like much really from the happy hours, but people did drop some of their happy hour like meet the player stories in the Discord. A couple I think are worth mentioning. One is apparently Corey Baird was very active in recruiting Brad Smith.
Ooh.
Over. Always love it when players recruit, other players to come here.
It shows you how awful it is to play here.
But presumably it's because they like those players. It'd be a different thing if they were like recruiting their enemies to come.
It is saying something though that Corey Baird is recruiting players, considering kind of how miserable of a year he had in terms of performance last year, and how he's been kind of switched positions away from being a striker.
Well, who was it that that Dominique Badji like talked to?
Anunga, right?
Anunga, maybe.
Yeah.
So, Anunga, apparently his dream vacation destination is Gatlinburg.
Very achievable dream, my man.
You know, call back to last episode.
Didn't he play in Nashville?
He played in Nashville, yeah.
Could have lived in Gatlinburg.
Man needs to dream a little higher here. Come on, Mike. I think you can afford a visa even on a supplemental salary.
Denkey's was Zanzibar.
Wow.
Yeah, which is, I hear is very nice. I did not go to Zanzibar.
Chief, I don't know.
Away days to Zanzibar with Kévin Denkey.
I'm down. Yeah.
My mind always goes to Metal Gear Solid, which is a problem and not a real
Probably a
place.
poor representation of Zanzibar.
Zanzibar, birthplace of Freddie Mercury.
Wow.
That is a really fun fact I was not expecting to learn in this episode.
I had no idea.
Cool that Kévin Denkey shows up at the supporters at the supporters happy hours too. I guarantee you that's not a requirement in his contract.
And was apparently wearing a training top, is what somebody said.
He was posting Instagram stories from the gym at 10:30 at night after showing up to this thing.
That's
from
too
his
late.
Gym, his
too
home,
late.
his home gym, where he has a painting of himself kind of similar to that one of the Notorious B.I.G. with the crown.
Which is awesome, by the way.
I missed this photo completely.
It's on the wall. I saw somebody put it up on somebody put it up on Twitter.
Didn't Jonah have a shirt of GB that was in that same style?
Maybe Jonah made that painting and just didn't tell us.
Just secret talents right here.
Yeah.
Denkey definitely gives vibes of a guy that just wears the team store at all times, right? That just, my man can't be bothered to buy clothing. He is so married to the game. The only thing he wears is the stuff he gets for free from the team he's playing on.
Every second you are shopping is a second you are not in the gym. So yes.
Right. That you're not improving. You're not focusing on your nutrition, your training. I think he may plug into the wall at night.
I hear that he's not seen around the neighborhood where he lives very often.
That would make sense. He's inside at the gym.
Inside working out.
I did hear on very good authority that he does not imbibe in any form of controlled or uncontrolled substances. So
he doesn't eat chicken.
Yeah, right.
Well, I mean, to be fair,
He's
neither did Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh thought chicken was a nervous bird and that you shouldn't be eating it if you want to train and be strong.
That's the most football man ever.
But then apparently he started raising chickens and decided that he was wrong. They're actually noble creatures. They provide.
It would have been funny if his take was his chickens weren't nervous because he was such a good leader.
He was such a good leader. He's a football guy.
You'd think it'd be the opposite. Because I could see Jim Harbaugh giving animals like nervous energy.
Yeah, big anxiety being around him.
How much would you pay to watch Jim Harbaugh try to coach a soccer team? Like, I think Ted Lasso is kind of a silly concept. I would really like to see what happens if Jim Harbaugh was just given control of a USL team for a year.
Am I dumb for thinking that like a good coach in one sport would mostly translate to another sport?
I mean, John Harkes didn't have any tactics for an entire season when he was here.
I'm saying.
I think you can just be a vibes guy, I think.
Yeah.
Bruce Arena has said that he's learned a lot from talking to coaches of other sports.
Right.
And
like, sure, there's...
I mean, there's motivation factors, right?
Yep. Yeah.
But we talked about this before, like, you could have like an NBA like offensive coach or offensive coordinator or something draw you up a set piece play.
Absolutely.
Like give them the shape of the field, give them the number of players. Yeah. Let them go nuts.
A good hockey coach, I feel like, would be able to
explain the offside rule to them probably.
Well, I mean, there's going to be.
I mean, you apparently have to explain the offside rule to FC Cincinnati after the way some of those set pieces were going last weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that, and to Damon's credit, it's like we are the most offside team in the league by far.
Well, the entire concept of like the consulting industry and like MBA programs and like these, visionary CEOs that hop from company to company and industry to industry, is that like if you have leadership tools and you're smart and you kind of understand how organizations are supposed to function,
right,
you can plug into all types of places and do a good job.
Yeah.
And like we're supposed to believe that sports are such like impossible concepts to master that somebody who's like a brilliant tactician in basketball or like can't figure out concepts in a soccer game, if they have other good skills like people management, leadership,
right,
they hire good assistants, like talent identification.
You know what else I think is an underrated aspect of being a good coach is being able to do the thing where you whistle with 2 fingers.
Oh, yeah.
Like not needing an actual whistle. That really does command attention when you're able to do that. It's an alpha move.
There's like the whole story about Russian hockey that I think is like mostly BS. But it was that like under the Soviet Union, they didn't like have access to other teams and like footage of like games. So like their hockey coach had to kind of figure out the game himself. And he studied like Russian ballet and designed a way of playing hockey that was like in conformance with the Russian culture, right? Which is why they played such like a beautiful balletic form of hockey in the 70s and 80s. I mean, I think it's like mostly.
And then in the 90s BS, with the Detroit Red Wings.
But yeah, I mean, you can figure stuff out.
I like it. We should try it out one time.
You have to start that story by saying in Soviet Russia.
Right. Actually, what they used was just a pencil, Grayson. Everybody else is using. So the
FC, cool.
The FC, not much happening on that front. Do we want to, at this point in part 1, just launch into the match preview?
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. This is an exciting time to be doing this preview because at time of recording, our opponent, Austin FC, you may or may not have heard of them, are playing a match. They're in the 51st minute. They are playing in the Open Cup. They're in round 4 of the Open Cup. They are playing the El Paso Locomotive. And Chief, the Locomotive are up 2-0.
The historic El Paso Locomotive.
What I love...
I don't know how long they've been around.
I think they've been around for 5 years.
People love trains, though. I'm sure they've been around for a lot longer than people think.
So this is a very fun fact about the El Paso Locomotive. Their ownership group spans the Rio Grande. Their ownership group owns FC Juarez or Juarez FC on the other side. Now, this is funny. There was recently a vote in USL and recently a vote in Mexico for Pro-Rel. And that meant this ownership group got to cast a vote for Pro-Rel in 2 different countries. And you will be shocked to learn they had 2 different votes. They voted in favor of Pro-Rel in USL and voted against Pro-Rel in Mexico.
Because that makes sense because they're like a minnow.
They are a tiny team and likely to be relegated in Mexico. And they have a lot
to lose for relegation in Mexico.
And they're one of the better USL franchises.
Right. And like, even if you get relegated in USL, who gives a crap?
Right.
Like, oh no, we're down in USL League 1 or 2 or whatever the hell they call it.
Right.
Because like they imported the dumbest part of naming conventions from overseas where it's like, well, this is the championship and below that is League 1. Like, what? But then the championship, no, there's a league above that too. It's like, no. Why bring that part over? That's just
well, before somebody in the Discord says this, well, the Premier League is not part of the Football League. So the championship is actually the highest division of the Football League.
I know that story.
It is the championship of the football.
And I agree with that story. The piece that never made sense is then why is it League One?
Because championship, League One,
League Two,
League Two,
League Three.
Actually, that part does kind of make sense because they're also
that's the part that doesn't make sense.
No, because they're also the idiots that named that they put their ground floor at 0. So the first floor is actually the second floor. The second floor is actually the third floor. And then you wonder why we needed to bail these people out in a world war.
I don't
and they
know.
call fries chips.
Oh, yes.
And chips
crisps. Not to be
Bangers
confused with
and mash.
Biscuits, yes.
Sticky toffee pudding.
I want sticky toffee pudding.
It's delightful.
It sounds good. I don't think I've ever
cigarettes
had it.
there.
Is that what they call them? Is that what they call them?
Yeah, keep the bit going, Grayson. What do they call them over there? So this Austin FC team is not good. I watched the game they played over the weekend where they got absolutely boat raced and didn't look good in the process. I think they lost 3-0 against. God, who'd they lose to? I've already lost.
They lost 3-0 to the Minnesota Uniteds.
Minnesota's sneaky good. Minnesota's second in the table in the West, and not getting talked enough about. I think Vancouver's sucking all the oxygen up in the western side of MLS. Listen to the World's Gam for more detail on that.
It's our Vancouver podcast.
Yeah,
that's what it feels like,
right? They don't look good. They look kind of inept on offense. Brandon Vazquez looks a little lost. Their goalkeeping was atrocious in this game as well, which didn't, help them at all.
Yeah. We'll fix that. Don't worry.
Don't worry about that. No, he'll have the game of his career against the FC.
Brandon will get a cross.
You know what's funny is that I watch these games now to prep for the other show. And all I can think as I watch other teams play, because some games I'll watch the full game when I'm at the gym or doing something. Other games I'll just, if it doesn't seem like it's interesting, I'll just watch the 7-minute highlight package and then see if I need to do something more.
Right.
Even on the 7-minute highlight package for a lot of these games, it's amazing how much more movement there is on offense in all these other teams that aren't FC Cincinnati. Like people making runs at the goal to pick off, shots that are not saved, but are just pushed aside. People moving back and drifting into pockets of space. And then you throw an FC game on and I watched, the New York City game, the highlights back of it, and even pressing for a goal, down 1-0 late in the game, there are, times where they're only committing 4 people to the attack or 5, and 2 of the 5 are at the top of the box outside of the play, not committing to trying to do something to, move and score a goal. It's a frustrating aspect of watching FC Cincinnati. And that's why in this game, this has to be a get right game. If they can't score 2 or 3 goals and beat Austin soundly, I think then at that point, I'm with Grayson. That's alarm bell moments. And that's an alarm bell moment in this game. If they at home cannot dominate this team.
I'm already with me.
Well, that's good to know.
We've already got the alarm bells going. Yeah, Vazquez is starting in this Open Cup game, and they're still losing 2-0. They have not looked good. He is their top goal scorer this year with a whopping 2 goals. It's not going well for them.
They're still in 6th place though. They've won 5 games somehow, but scoring 7 goals total. It's the ultimate in just fake stats.
Yeah. It also just shows you how bad the West is truly. There's not really a good team below them. I mean, San Jose and Seattle are dangerous in moments, but man, it's a tough spot. So yeah, sure. I guess they're the best of the rest.
Here's what you need to know about Austin. They have played what now? They have played, let's see here, 11 games played.
Yep.
And of the 11 games they have played, they have scored more than 1 goal 1 time in a 2-1 win against San Diego. In
Ooh.
every other game they have played, they have scored either 0 or 1 goal.
Wow. So you should be confident going into this one as an FCC fan. And yet, Grayson, are you feeling confident as an FCC fan?
I am feeling confident that they will win this game.
Ooh, okay.
It's a home game. They have it's against a bad team. That's been their bread and butter this year.
We can get a good 1-0 victory here.
Yeah, it's gonna be like 1-0, 2-1. I guess I don't know if should I give I'll say 2-1.
Okay.
Because I think Brandon has scored on us every time he's played us.
That feels right. He's only played us twice.
Right. So he'll score, he'll do his Superman pose. But we'll get 2. We'll get like a Vander free kick and a Denkey penalty. We're gonna complain about it.
Our DPs are gonna show up and do DP things.
That's just gonna be what the season is. Is we're gonna get pretty good results, not great results.
Right.
And we're gonna complain about it. At least until whenever the next window is where there's maybe an opportunity to change some personnel around.
Listen,
would
to
you
World's
change
Game for that?
Would you change personnel? Would you change the lineup for this game?
I want Orishano on the wing.
They have made that adjustment in back-to-back games, they being Pat Noonan and company. They have, in the second half, they have moved Orishano to wingback. And once they do that, the team looks better. And I know game state matters here, but whenever they do that, the team looks better. So it feels insane to just not start there 3 games in a row now.
I don't care what they do with the 3 center backs. If they need to have Yedlin as a right center back for, comfort, fine.
Yeah,
I just want to see Orishano as the right wing back. And frankly, if Obi's not good to go, I want to see like Pavel next to Evander, or Pavel next to Kubo, or Pavel next to Corey Baird, or Pavel next to Dotto.
Yeah.
This is a game where we want to go into the game expecting to have the ball. And so I want a lineup out there that is kind of our all hands team.
Yeah.
And no offense, I hope he comes in the game and helps us see out a victory. I just don't want to see Anunga in the starting lineup in a game where we should look to be on the front foot and possess the ball and run the game.
100%.
I agree.
100%.
I agree. I don't need to see Anunga anymore as a starter. Like, that's his role in this game. His role on this team should be a reservist that comes in to see out results. He should not be a guy that is starting and that you are relying on in any way to see through a full 90-minute match, unless you're just going for heavy rotation. And I agree. I want to see Orishano out on the wing. And if you're not going to put Orishano out on the wing, then you absolutely 100% don't start him. I agree with that. I don't think that he's useful up top as a striker.
Yeah.
And not only that, I don't think that you put Anunga or Obi out there, regardless of who's fit. If you're something has to give. If your 2 wingbacks, and we talked about this a ton on the weekend show, but if your 2 wingbacks are going to be DeAndre Yedlin and Lucas Engel, there is no need for a stopper in the midfield, because neither one of those players are committing to making deep runs into the offensive third. And neither one of these players, especially, are at any sort of risk to be caught out of position, cutting inside or cutting into the box the way that Barrial used to be, the way Arias used to be, the way Orishano was. These were players where you needed to have that stopper behind them because they would get out of position and they would concede space down the flank and they would concede field position down the flank. If neither one of these players are going to do that, you don't need Obi out there. You need someone who's going to make some more progressive decisions with the ball and allow Evander to stay further forward and receive the ball further forward versus having to drift back because Anunga and Obi aren't going to move the ball forward.
Yeah, and with the wingbacks, like I do like a lot of the positions that Engel gets himself into. He hasn't been super effective with the ball once he's in those positions, but I think you are seeing good things. But this is not Alvaro Barreal.
Right.
He isn't, or even Yamil Assad, who is an out and out offensive player who, especially with Alvaro, what this team was. And I looked this up over at some point in the last couple of days. In 23, we had 48% possession across the MLS season. We were not a possession heavy team. Last year we had something like 54, and this year we're like around 51. And as the team has become more possession oriented, the results have gotten worse. And I think a part of that is, in 23, when Obi was a stopper and they were still playing three center backs most of the time, Barreal and Arias could play the ball so quick in transition.
Yeah.
And they got so many goals with the defense out of shape that, you win the ball, you go. And those guys were able to play with Lucho and get the ball down the field really quickly. And they were able to, once you get down there really quickly, they were able to find Brandon, who, even though he didn't have a great year in 23, was still a pretty reliable target.
Yeah.
And Assad also was able to play the ball quick, but he wasn't Alvaro. Like, he wasn't as good as Alvaro. And you saw when he and Orishano were out there last year, there's a lot of the stuff that we're seeing again. They drift central, they kind of get bunched up with each other. Defenses get a chance to kind of stack bodies in the box, and they have to like skill through it.
Yeah.
Versus, catching a defender out of position, which seems to be kind of the easiest way to score a goal in MLS.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not just catching a defender out of position. It's that the player personnel they have right now, as it stands, none of them find space. They all want the ball. And if they don't have the ball, they're standing around waiting to receive the ball. And so you don't see those kind of creative little runs that find a pocket of space where all of a sudden there's a pullback and somebody's wide open for a shot. Like, the easiest way to score a goal in MLS is the pullback to just outside the 6-yard box. Somebody's standing on the penalty spot and they're wide open. But somebody's got to drift back into that space, and no one does that for the FC. So what I don't want to see is I don't want to see them keep beating their head against the wall with 3 center backs, 2 defensive wing backs, and a stopper. That is too many players. That's 6 players that none of whom have strong offensive instincts. And I agree with you. I think Engel has done some really good things. I think Yedlin has had occasionally doing some good things. But the thing about them is that none of them are going to, neither one of those players are going to overcommit. Neither of them are going to drift centrally and drift out of position. And if that is the case, it really absolves the need for having Obi floating around the middle to cover for the wingbacks when the wingbacks get too far forward.
And I don't want to harp on this point, but
do it.
It really just feels like overkill, and we're seeing it hurt the team's ability to play with the ball and to keep the ball and to be dangerous with the ball. Yeah. To have so many defensive oriented players. And I put in the Discord, like, we made the suggestion about running out lineups with the same defense, but you put somebody else in the midfield instead of Anunga or Obi, and people are like, well, then you don't have a defensive midfielder in your 11. And yeah, I know. I looked this up. Pavel Bucha gives more on the defensive end than both of the Crew's central midfielders, Nagbe and Shambost, combined.
Boom.
Nagbe plays the 6, and he's 4th percent in tackles against midfielders, 5th percentile interception among midfielders, 8th percentile in blocks, 7th percentile in clearances, 5th percentile in aerials won. You know what he does do? He completes passes, right? He helps you hold the ball. He helps you advance the ball. He helps you keep possession without losing it.
Yep.
And that's basically the only thing that he does well. And it is central to how the crew are able to play in possession, and have pretty good defensive results.
Yeah.
Without as much defensive talent as we have.
Yep.
And have a really, really effective possession-based offense.
And Nance has called that out as well, that like the system is predicated on Nagbe doing that, like he's vital to that cause. And yeah, like we were worried when Junior Moreno was, let walk, but Bucha has absolutely done that. But to a point you made, Chief, at the end of the day, I just like, yeah, what we have with Yedlin and Angle like isn't ideal with this, and they're not as willing to go forward. But the other part of it is they're not good at it when they do. Like they have moments.
Is that they're not as effective going forward as they needed to be.
Whereas, like, even if Orishano, is the same player, he can take on 2 or 3 guys from that wingback position, dribbling into the box. The defense collapses on him, and ideally he's able to pass the ball out, or maybe he forces a shot that they're able to pick up, and Angle eventually will be able to cross the ball, I hope. But even if he just gets a couple of crosses, that's okay. But yeah, like at the end of the day, they're just not as efficient.
It's the big thing that you see with it is that they want to play through the wingbacks. They've wanted to play through the wingbacks through the entire course of Noonan's tenure here. And what teams are doing, you can watch it happen, and it's like clockwork, is that teams are waiting for them to pass the ball out wide to the wingback, and then they're collapsing in and collapsing down, and the only play that Angle will have or Yedlin will have is back to the center back, because there isn't that second and third option that allows him to move the ball laterally or move the ball forward, because again, Obi is behind the ball. And so the only person that's ahead of the ball in these circumstances are the 2 strikers, who are usually trying to find space further up the field, or Evander. And the only person that you're seeing is Evander, and so he has to drift back even further. They're just playing themselves into traps because that extra defender doesn't have to worry about Obi doing anything moving forward. That extra defender on the field can just wave off Obi as a threat and know that he's not going to go past the midfield line and do anything, which is why, for me, I want to see Yu Yakubo in that position, or you know what? I want to see Evander in that position, or some combination of Evander and Dotto, and let them figure that out. Like I said, I would like to see Dotto in this game.
Hey.
I think that at this point, the thing is that there are a lot of assumptions about this team that were made, and about this roster construction, about this formation, that were made with the idea that Evander was just going to be a Lucho replacement. And he's going to do Lucho things, and we're going to put players out there that would have worked if Lucho would have been here. You know what? That isn't happening. Yep. We have 11 games worth of footage to suggest that Evander is a very, very good player. Evander is not Lucho Acosta. And so doing the same thing over and over again and expecting him to turn into Lucho Acosta is silly. So let's try some different combinations of people out there, and let's see who he plays with the best, and let's see who accentuates his skill set and who he can facilitate for. And the minutes I saw from Dotto with him on the field with Evander, I am now eager to see more, because it's different, and I don't have proof already that it doesn't work.
And if the team around Evander gets like medium good at just playing with possession, holding the ball, getting into spaces, switching fields when you need to, getting the defense out of position, moving the ball around without losing it, and generating space and opportunities offensively, then the ceiling could be higher than a team that is fully reliant on Lucho.
Yeah.
Because you have, Evander is like a cheat code on top of it to do something special, but you're otherwise competent.
Yeah. Yeah. Like that's all we're asking for. to have this team set up in such a way that, the DPs can do incredible things, which they have been doing, but it feels just stuck right now, and it just needs to break through.
I mean, it was always frustrating when Lucho would miss games,
right?
Because like nobody knows what to do,
right?
Because it's always like the game plan was always find Lucho and move around Lucho.
We have a goal from Brandon Vazquez in the Austin game.
Hey,
got it out of his system early,
and hopefully we have a little bit of a blank slate, and guys can kind of have ideas of what to do that they can do effectively. That is not just find Evander. And I'm with Chief. Like, I think Evander's great, and I think he could be I think he's an MVP in MLS.
Yeah,
but I don't think that he's the type of player where your offense can just be find Evander.
Right, and it's not working. So please abandon that if that is the plan now.
Right. What I want two things out of this game. I want something different in the lineup, and I want every player to have it drilled into him that your number one goal in this game is to find Kévin Denkey and get him the ball
in the box.
Like,
please.
In the box. There should be, the goal in this game should be 10. Kévin Denkey gets 10 touches in the box. I don't care if you have to force feed it. I don't care if you're passing through 5 guys. Like, there needs to be a concerted effort to get this man touches in dangerous positions where he can do something spectacular. He can't do anything spectacular if the ball never even finds his feet.
He doesn't need a lot of space. He doesn't need a lot of time. He doesn't even need a ton of touches.
I was going to say, he doesn't need a lot of touches.
More are better.
Yes.
Because he's so good. Like, it's just, if nothing else, there's got to be a way to figure out if a team like DC United can get Christian Benteke the Golden Boot, they can figure out how to get Kévin Denkey a couple, like more than 2 touches in the box a game.
Literally 2, which is what he had the last game.
I think he's had 2 multiple games.
Yeah, 2 or 3 is like the most common thing.
And if I was the ownership of this team, if I was signing the checks, I'd be out of my skull coming down saying, we paid $17 million for this guy. Figure out a way to get him the ball.
Yeah.
And it's not like he's not hustling. Like, you can see him out there. He's putting insane shifts in. He's coming back to defend. He's trying to track back to get more involved in the game. The marching orders from Pat Noonan need to be, no. It's their fault, not yours. The other 9 guys here in the outfield, we're going to talk to them. You go and get yourself in dangerous positions. Let me worry about why these idiots aren't getting you the ball often enough.
No.
Idiot's in the most loving sense of the word.
Chief, you're wrong. Roman doesn't get off the hook here either. So Grayson predicted a 2-1 victory.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Chief, what are you thinking?
1-0 FC
feels right.
Yeah. Like I agree with Grayson. I think that, like, even with all this complaining, the talent disparity is too great, and there will be one moment of brilliance that, carries it through, whether it's a free kick or a set piece or a penalty of some sort. Until I see them do something else besides that, I don't know that I feel comfortable predicting them to actually do something besides that.
I think it would be very funny to have this game finish 3-3. So we get everything we want, but also their offense suddenly clicks. And then we have to rethink everything.
It's all about narratives, baby.
That's all I want. Let's head on over to part 2. We'll answer a couple of Patreon questions very quickly, and then we'll get you out of here. All right, we are back in part 2 where we are answering your questions. And by your, I mean the folks that support us on Patreon, which is a thing you can do. You can pay $2 a month. There's a link in the show notes of this episode, as well as on Patreon. You can just type in the post Cincy, which is how I imagine most people will do this. You can give us $2. That's all you can give us. So don't even think about giving more or less. Okay. But if you do that, you get to ask us a question and we answer it. Now, in addition, Chief and Grayson were so generous to offer up the question privileges to non-patrons who leave reviews for the World's Gam and send us proof along with their question. So that is where I'm going to start, where in the Discord, The Salty posted a 5-star review, thank you, and asked, I am a student returning to Cincy from college, and I am looking for work at a bar. Which bars have the best environment, and is there any specific places Are there any specific places to avoid? First off, maybe don't avoid the classroom, the Salty. Where are we thinking? Where are we sending the Salty?
I mean, it obviously depends on what kind of bartending experience you want to have. Are you someone that wants to mix cocktails? Is that your thing that I would like to, express myself artistically with bartending? In which case you're going to want to find some place that, specializes in those sorts of drinks. So, maybe you're looking at like a rooftop bar of some sort, some place where you can get out and enjoy the nice weather a little bit. There's a new one that I think that opened just down off 3rd Street by where the in between is across the street from there. I think there's a new Moxie hotel that opened. There's a new rooftop bar that's right there. There's the AC, the one by the ballpark. Those are more like, your cocktail upscale bars. If you're just looking to serve, sling some beers, enjoy a good time, talk to the regular stuff like that. Hard to go wrong at Animations in Oakley. No matter what kind of night you're looking to have, you can have that at Animations right there. Also, Dana Gardens, you can get that college experience. Nothing better than serving drinks at a college bar during the summertime. You get the real characters that come in then.
I'm assuming this is somebody's, based on the language of the question, or maybe I'm assuming something, that this is a first bartender job and not like I've been bartending for a couple of years elsewhere and I'm looking for something in Cincinnati. Yeah. So like there's a lot of places that come to mind that like you're not ready for, either because of like the difficulty of the drinks or how let's say eclectic the crowd can be. Yes. Or how busy it can get. But I think like most of the breweries in town seem like pretty good places to start.
That's exactly what I was going to recommend.
Like, I don't know if Mad Tree is hiring. I have no idea. And I don't want to endorse anybody's like employment practices. Like, I don't know. Right.
Right.
Like, I don't know how people treat their employees. I'm not in this industry. So like outside of a couple of places, I can't really vouch for anybody's like management style. But I think like the breweries in town seem like a pretty good place to start. Some of the 4EG bars do like batched cocktails, like the Stretch.
Yeah.
Has like a lot of cocktails like on draft. So if people are ordering like beers and wine and draft cocktails, that could be like a decent way to get your foot in, like kind of get your feet wet on the cocktail thing, like something in between a cocktail bar and a brewery.
Yeah. My first bartending gig was at the Growler House. So somewhere where you're primarily serving beer is
just match the number 18.
Perfect. Very chill shifts and chill clientele. It was a good time.
Best brewery to bartend at? Big Ash in Anderson Township.
That is the best bartending.
That was self-serve, right?
Yes.
Self-serve.
So go work there.
You just stand there and be like, okay, so did you get your card? All right, you tap right there and fill it up yourself. I can answer any questions you got later.
And I would say at least like a middle-sized brewery, because some of the smaller ones will like, they have no idea if how many people are going to show up over the course of the day. So they'll have like one person working.
Yeah.
And if it gets busy,
you're done.
It's just on you.
Yeah.
Sam, I think that's good advice.
From 2 of 3 people that never tended bar in their life. I've sat at a lot of bars. I've drank at a lot of bars.
That counts for something. Some bar experience.
I've served. It's been a long time.
When you think about it, it's kind of like hiring a hockey coach to be a soccer coach.
Yeah.
So you hire a bar patron to bartend,
or just immediately put the difficulty up to hard mode and say, "Sign me up for Mug Night at RP's."
I think that the staff at Longfellow should teach classes to bartenders around town. I don't know if maybe they do. I don't know, but I think they should teach people how to like make drinks and handle crowds.
Yes,
and like diffuse situations, because like to a person, I don't know if they hire them like straight out of some type of bartender residency or something, but they are on point all the time.
They are fast. They are good. It's
on the other
really
end of the spectrum. I once got drinks at the Happy Hollow Inn in Norwood. None of their taps were working, and the only drinks they could pour were shots.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Work somewhere.
They don't strike me as a place that hire people that walk in though.
Yeah. Work somewhere where you can like tell somebody ordering a drink that they're wrong and they shouldn't get that drink.
Yeah.
That's
good. It's acceptable to say, I don't know how to make that. Pick something else.
Yeah. that's too much. What's in a rum and Coke? You're going to have to order something else.
Is rum and Pepsi
okay? Is bourbon and Pepsi okay? David Ziegler asks, this could take us some time. This may end up being the last question, depending on how we do this, but I like the question. He asks, with Hell is Real being this month, please create the best Hell is Real lineup. A starting 11, a bench, a coach, a referee.
Of like anyone that plays in soccer?
So I was immediately like, all right, so we put Constantine up top. Hellboy is your defensive. Oh wait,
so this midfielder. It's all hell themed, is what we want.
Or we just create a sort of dream starting 11 of players who have played in Hell is Real. So like maybe GB is starting in this game and Ledesma's in this game. Maybe
it's a mix. Maybe it's like John Constantine, GB, and Jesus.
Now that's GB a front
Jesus
three.
Is the 2 strikers.
Well, so you have St. Peter in goal.
Of course. Deciding who gets in and out.
Yeah.
Wouldn't he be the coach deciding who's in and out of the 11 out of the 18?
No.
The Holy Spirit is going to have to be our box to box because they're everywhere.
He's everywhere.
Yeah,
right.
And keeping everyone together.
Is the Holy Spirit a he, they? Is that what we're going with?
Yeah, it's he, they, for sure.
Well, you would want the father as the attacking mid, or the son as the attacking mid, the father as the striker, because as anyone truly knows in their theology, no one comes to the father except through me, the son.
That's good. I was going to say the father makes sense as a coach, but you make a compelling argument here. We're definitely going to need Lucifer somewhere. We need the man himself.
I think Lucifer is the coach.
Oh, I like that.
It's like,
so God is taking orders from Lucifer on the field and taking tactical advice from Lucifer. That seems all wrong.
We'll see.
It's everything Lucifer ever wanted. Also, God feels more like a Lucho type.
I was going to say it's like a Messi Mascherano type situation.
Like he's the coach, sure.
I do like Hellboy in this team somewhere.
Yeah.
Probably like a defensive mid.
Second striker next to God the father would be a brutal combination.
Like a Clint Dempsey-esque striker.
He does have horns in the top of his head that would make it difficult for him to head the ball, I think.
I think he can put in a tackle.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. He's rough.
He's got the left arm of doom. Isn't that kind of like Maradona's right hand of God? Or
that's a good point. Maybe we need actually Maradona's right hand needs to be in this team.
It might be fun to do this as like all people that we're pretty confident are in hell. As like the starting 11, like Jeffrey Dahmer.
But do we need to
equal things?
Equal.
I was told all sin is equal before the eyes of the Lord, so
like a serial killer starting 11.
Little Nicky's on the bench. It feels like he's not ready for prime time quite yet.
Yeah, Little Nicky's definitely on the bench. Jesus. We've already put him in.
Cable access South Park Jesus from like season 1 and 2.
Yeah, Saddam Hussein's with them.
Also in hell. I mean, this is pretty, like, I honestly, with the amount of divine power in this lineup, I don't know that we need more people. Like,
well, okay, so we'll definitely want Derek Etienne Jr. since he played for both teams. We got to make up numbers here.
The wings got to be like Gabriel and Michael.
Right? Yeah, obviously.
Playing wing back.
No, it's actually going to be Matt Damon and Ben Affleck from Dogma.
I like that. I like Matt Damon and Ben Affleck from Dogma as the wingbacks.
The righteous indignation. I was trying to think. Our midfield feels set. Do we have room for the serpent from the Garden of Eden anywhere?
Adam?
Serpent is second striker.
Okay.
Well, he has to crawl on his belly. That's not going to be effective. He's only going to be useful for the lower part of the wall.
He tempts the defenders his direction, create some space for the father to receive the ball and put it in.
Literally cannot handle the ball. So
yeah, that's true.
That is true.
No worries there.
He's definitely going to draw a pen or two up top as well, I think.
Yeah. He's got a Luis Suarez streak of biting other players.
He's sneaky.
Yes.
We need center backs.
We do need center backs.
We put Pope Francis back there just because, recency.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, he's Argentinian. He's got to be pretty good.
He's a left center back.
Of course, and he's a card carrying.
Benedict is at the right center back.
He's a center left center back.
Yes!
Benedict is the right center back.
Wait, did Benedict pass? Did I miss that?
He did pass. Yeah,
he did pass.
Okay,
yeah,
I missed that.
Who's in which Pope is in the middle? I'm always up for a good Pope innocent reference in anything.
It's got to be Gregory the Great.
I don't hate that either.
Urban the Sixth.
It could be Pope Innocent, but specifically the one from Conclave.
Innocent the 10th?
No, John Paul II. No, we're not getting him.
JP the Deuce.
Polish.
Overrated.
Right.
Yeah.
But Matt Miazga's Polish.
Yeah, he's not in this team.
Yeah, no,
I'm just saying
he has to wait to go to hell.
Oh no! We already talked about burying him in this episode,
and then digging him up and putting him in an FC Cincinnati kid. It's like when they baptize you into the Mormon faith, like after you're gone. Yes. Like we're gonna put the kid on him, and that will retroactively get him into heaven for being an FC Cincinnati supporter.
Now
so you're telling me that we made an all Mormon starting 11?
Yes, actually. Multiple popes. I think that covers it. Are we missing anyone?
Sure. Yeah. That definitely answered the question right there.
This is 100% the answer David Ziegler was looking for.
Do we have a center? Do we have a center back? Like the center back?
A center back? No, we've got the previous two popes on left and right, which makes.
I like Gregory the Great in the middle there.
I like Gregory Great in the middle there. We got to have Joan of Arc on the bench.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Are we putting the Virgin Mary on the
attacking
bench?
sub?
Attacking sub. She gets on the field and is immediately on fire. It just changes the game.
All right, moving on.
She won't quibble with wearing the uniform, so it'll be good. I think that does it. Do we want one more?
Mother Teresa on the bench as a kind of a midfield distributor.
But then
Grayson just putting all the women on the bench.
Yeah,
but
sad.
then also Christopher Hitchens to keep her
her
honest.
Yeah,
we have God on the field. Everyone knows Alanis Morissette is God.
Right? That's true. The Alanis Morissette God specifically is the one on the field. She's the father, I guess, in this case.
You know what the sad part of this is too? This team still loses 2-1 to Columbus.
No, Wilfred Nancy, what have you done?
Wilfred Nancy is literally the Antichrist. Like not even this team can help. And because of that, fuck Columbus.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Cincy Postcast. It is a production of The Post Cincy. You can check us out at thepostcincy.com or just click a link in the description to check out some of our written work. It also has links to our social media accounts across all sorts of different platforms, including YouTube, where we are trying to do more and more video content. Please, dare I say it, like and subscribe and leave a comment. But no, that would be really, really helpful. I also want to give a thank you to Jim Trace and the Makers. They're a local Cincinnati band who provided all of the music for this episode. We love having them on board. You can check them out. Again, link in the description of this episode to find out where they might be playing shows next or where you can listen to more of their music. Also want to give a massive, massive thank you to the awesome and very attractive patrons over on Patreon. It is a voluntary subscription that people take out with no real promise of anything extra that keep this show afloat. And we are so, so thankful to those of you that have decided to take that commitment. If you do like the show, or at least just want to engage with other people who have listened to the show and want to talk about FC Cincinnati, MLS, soccer, or really anything else, you can go on over to Discord. Again, link in the description. Lots of links in the description where you can find a link to the Discord. That's where we are keeping the conversation going 24/7. It feels like it's a really fun group of people in there just talking about FC Cincinnati. And like I said, just about everything else. And finally, I'll say it. If you liked this episode, and given the fact that you've made it all the way to the end, I have to assume you either like it or for some reason cannot reach the stop button. Please share this episode with a friend or family member or someone who likes FC Cincinnati. The best way for us to grow is from a personal recommendation from somebody who likes it. And if that's you, please tell other people. And if you don't have any friends, feel free to give us a review on whatever your podcast platform of choice is. We'll take anything we can get. But again, a huge, huge thank you to everybody for listening to this show. I am blown away that anybody listens to this. So again, I well and truly mean this. Thank you so much for listening.